And we're back. Another YouTube video for the channel. Don't look at the Camaro, it's really dirty. But we're actually at Big Springs today, a place that I wanted to come back to for this video because it's my favorite spot in Utah. It's not the prettiest by far, but it is right up Provo Canyon. I grew up in Orem, going to Orem High School, so this was a place that I used to come to a lot with my friends. We'd come out here camping and everything. And just real quick, since we're doing a video on it, they kind of ruined this place. You see that sign back there? No camping. Man, this was such a clutch spot when I was growing up. Just real quick, close to home, me and my friends could come out here, camp overnight, and have some good fun without getting in any real trouble. But we got to talk today about a few things. First off, this is the first video I've done since officially receiving the nomination to be the Libertarian candidate for Utah's 4th District Representative to United States Congress for this year. So, quick celebration. We need a little song. Da 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 da. And now we got to go talk about Justin Amash and this whole thing coming up. I wanted to talk more about winning the nomination, but right after that happened, Justin Amash came into the Libertarian Party, is looking at running for president of the United States, and so that blew up. We got to talk about that today. So instead of talking about me, we're going to talk about Justin Amash and all that stuff going on. So let's go hike back up in here. I did bring Kel today. He's right over here. There he is. So we're going to go hike back up in here and talk about Amash. Out. All right, so this spot that I'm standing in was actually me and my friend's main camping spot in high school. Basically slept in this spot almost more than I did at home throughout high school. But nice open field. You got the tree line right back here with the creek running through down through there. But the open field was nice. However, this is not the spot that was the most private. So for us to talk, since there seems to be people out today, we're gonna go to one of the backup spots right up through here and then over into the tree line close to the creek. So we'll go move over there and let's talk about Amash. So that's that field right behind me that I was talking about. If you guys are gonna come out here and you want somewhere a little bit more private to just hang out for a bit, keep an eye out. They're really hard to see, but there's like little trails like this and the clearing right back there. It'll be your dead giveaway that you find a place like this. Like this. All right, so we gotta talk about Amash. You know, he came in to the Libertarian Party just recently. He was an independent until he just made the switch. I think it was last week. And that was after leaving the Republican Party in, I think it was July of last year. Now, I've heard a lot of arguments whether or not this is a good or a bad thing. Mostly from Libertarians, some things I've heard from the Republicans, and some things I've heard from Democrats. There's a lot of opinions all over the board. First off, I'm not endorsing Justin Amash. I am completely undecided on how I feel about him as a candidate in general. However, we're going to examine some of the points that other people have made and a little bit of my feelings on some of these comments. So, first off, let's start with the bad. There's a lot of Libertarians that don't like the fact that Justin Amash is coming in right now because it is pretty late in the game. And I understand that sentiment. a lot of concern because people aren't happy with him taking away votes from their candidate that they like in the Libertarian Party. We do have a lot of people still vying for the presidential nomination within the Libertarian Party. And then the same thing from the Republicans and the Democrats as far as that goes. You know, not happy about taking away votes from Biden, not happy about taking away votes from Trump. I've heard some comments about Justin Amash doing this now, seeming a bit opportunist, if not vindictive, towards Donald Trump, simply because of the fact that it seems like Justin Amash was ousted by the Republican Party. He couldn't handle the pressure, and so he left, went independent. Now he's just looking for a home at the Libertarian Party because the Republicans won't have him. I don't know how I feel about that one, quite frankly. We'll get into that more in a second. But getting into some of the good things, I've heard some things about how Justin Amash is bringing a lot of attention to the Libertarian Party. He's putting it out there more, even more so than it already was. He's a very prominent and high-profile figure that we have in our party now, and he also made history by being the first congressman to be a Libertarian in Congress. That one, all right, I'm a little bitter about, just because of the fact that I'm running for Congress, and I was hoping to be the first one. He beat me to it. Yeah, I'm over it. I was bitter for like a day, and all right, I can still at least be the first one to win by an election. At least I still got that going for me. But look, here's kind of my feelings on the whole Justin Amash coming into the Libertarian Party just in general. Really, I got to start with the fact that this doesn't surprise me at all. All right, if you've been watching on social media and in the news, I know the Libertarian Party isn't that predominant compared to the Republicans and Democrats, but if you've been paying attention to the Libertarian Party, it's very much been looking like the Libertarian National Committee and its members have been trying to groom some of the outsiders of the two political parties for potentially coming in as a presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party. Tulsi Gabbard actually was the one that I thought was going to be it. There was some stuff going on that looked like there was some potential in trying to attract Tulsi Gabbard to leave the Democratic Party and make that switch over to the Libertarian Party and make a run with us. So Justin Amash actually seemed like he was being considered. He is more on the outside fringes of the Republican Party and doesn't quite follow along with a lot of what they like. I was just expecting Tulsi Gabbard. I was actually kind of gearing up for that one myself as a possibility and looking at possibly having some talks with her and seeing if she would be a good fit. There's some stuff I don't like about her that isn't a good fit with the Libertarian Party, but if she's able to ditch those, we were willing to bring her in. That was some of the talks going on. I don't see how Justin Amash is any different, quite frankly. I mean, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat before, these people are kind of on the outside of their party anyways, so it makes sense to try and draw them into the Libertarian Party a little bit more. I mean, they're not friends with their people, and the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So we're going to start looking at trying to get our party grown and get more high-profile people involved. It makes sense to go after these politicians that tend to be a bit on the outside of their currently claimed political party. Oh, there's the dog. Disappeared right behind me. One of the things also that I got to say about this, that's pretty much it for the Libertarian National Committee and what I think on what they're doing here. Just that I noticed it before. Kind of seemed obvious that it was going to go in this direction. It just surprises me that it was Justin Amash and not Tulsi Gabbard. Either way, I don't really have any hard feelings about it. I'm kind of not sold one way or the other if this is good or bad. The one thing that I will say that has been bothering me quite a bit about Justin Amash coming in has been the reaction on the negative side of it, because a lot of the rhetoric and reasoning behind it seems to be he's a Republican, we can't let Republicans in. Look, we're trying to grow this party. We're trying to get it to be taken more seriously and be an actual contender against the main two parties that have screwed up this whole entire American dream for everyone. And one of the things that they have going against them right now is you have the Democrats pushing completely against Republicans and the Republicans completely pushing against the Democrats. Both have demonized each other to the point where they won't talk to each other. The Libertarian Party has a very big opportunity right now, because of that polarization between the Republicans and the Democrats, to draw in some of the people who are starting to question if their party still fits their ideology. and what they want in life, whether that's Republican or Democrats. You've got people leaving both parties right now. And if our example to them with Justin Amash is if you try to come to the Libertarian Party, we will demonize you for having been a Republican or a Democrat, we're not going to grow our numbers. We are going to lose those people, and we will be at a disadvantage when we could have been at an advantage going up against the Republicans and the Democrats. Look, when people see the Libertarian Party taking a former Republican candidate and demonizing him for his past affiliation with the Republican Party, Justin Amash wasn't quite a Republican to begin with. Okay? That whole thing that I've been hearing lately with Justin Amash about how he didn't leave the Republican Party left him, that sounds really familiar. And you know where I heard that before? I said it. Yeah, guess what? If you didn't know, I was a Republican before I became a Libertarian. Before I got the nomination for the Libertarian Party to be the congressman, I was a Republican a while ago. And I made that same comment in my announcement video about leaving the Republican Party, that it had nothing to do with me leaving the Republican Party. The Republican Party had already left me. There was no choice for me. They didn't agree with actual things that they were promising during their campaigns. I got tired of the double standards and the Republicans acting like Democrats. And for Democrats, the Democratic Party has gone so far left, they don't even recognize their own party anymore. And so what's going on right now is we've got the Libertarian Party looking at a Republican who's setting that example, whether you agree with his intentions or not. The thing is that in the public eye, this guy is setting an example for those Republicans who feel disenfranchised by their own party and showing them that there's another place they can go to. And we've got libertarians in the party acting like Puritans, and this is Harry Potter calling him a mudblood. I know that's a weird analogy, but seriously, that's kind of how this seems to me. It's that level of pathetic almost. And I get the sentiments and being concerned and wanting to keep the Libertarian Party principled, and wanting to keep it as actually having set standards and following through with what we promise, unlike the Republicans and the Democrats. But if we demonize every single person for their past party affiliation, it's not going to look good to those people who are ethnic minorities or identify as a different sexual orientation, different anything, really. Because it shows that if you aren't exactly like us and exactly the way we want you to be, you're not welcome in our party. And that's what the Republicans and the Democrats are doing. And if we start doing the exact same thing as them, we are not going to be gaining that appeal that we could be right now, especially to those young voters. Those guys who are getting sick of seeing the old white men on the stage for president. We see that right now with Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Okay? We've had a very good opportunity to be going up against the old white men with something different. And what are we doing? We're bashing the guy because he was formerly a Republican, when that was only on paper, really, because his voting record doesn't really match up with the Republican Party as a whole, from what I'm looking at. I mean, I still got to talk to Justin Amash. I still have to get a feel for him and what I see is going to happen going forward on if I'm going to support him as a candidate. I still haven't picked a candidate on the Libertarian side for me to support. I'm still looking. But you know what? While I'm looking and I'm seeing people bashing Justin Amash for being a former Republican, that kind of reflects to me as how people are going to take me going forward. And it's kind of demoralizing, personally. I'm really young. I'm brand new to this politics thing. And I made that jump just the same as he did. So if you're going to demonize him, you got to demonize me too. Because I used to be a Republican just the same. I'm trying to show people that you can come into this party no matter what affiliation you were before, no matter what your gender, no matter what your sexual orientation, no matter what type of life you want to live, how you want to make your living, as long as we agree that our whole goal is to be more free, have more liberty in a time when our government is more tyrannical than ever before. And our message is going to be, you were the wrong party before, you can't help us now. It's not going to do us any good. Okay, so whatever you think about Justin Amash, keep that in mind going forward, that you have your opinions. I get the concerns. The timing on it seems very opportunistic. I get that. I'm looking at it the exact same way because I left a long time ago. He just left. Just came to the Libertarian Party. Why now? I get that question. absolutely makes perfect sense, and it's something I look forward to talking with him in person about and hearing more from him in his interviews and things like that to see the consistency in his explanations. But in the meantime, let's give him the chance to make that explanation, so that when the other Republicans and other Democratic voters, or even the people in those parties who are officials who may feel disenfranchised and are considering making that jump to something else and don't know where to go, let's show them the Libertarian Party can be their home. That as long as you stand for more freedom, then that's what we're all about. That we are looking to enhance our liberties as individuals, and as long as you're on board with that, we'll hear you out about what you have to say. We'll give you the chance to at least be heard, rather than saying because you're a Republican or a Democrat, we won't listen to you. That's exactly what the Republicans and Democrats do to each other and to us. Let's not do the same thing to them. Honestly, the stuff that's going on and bashing him as hard as it has been, very much to me feels like when the Republicans were complaining at some of the events I went to before I left the party that they couldn't allow a non-Christian into office. Well, guess what? I'm the only atheist in this race for 4th District. I'm also the one pushing for people to be able to go back to church right now. I was the first one to jump on board with that one, and I'm the atheist. So when you say Justin Amash can't be part of the Libertarian Party because he was formerly a Republican, it sends that exact same type of message about how we can't have Christians in office, or non-Christians in office. It's a big turnoff, guys. I'm just going to say it like how it is. It's a huge turnoff, and right now we have an opportunity to draw those people in, and we should take full advantage of it. So please, let's give Justin Amash a chance to be heard. Let's show the Republicans and the Democrats that are on the edge about it, that don't quite like Trump, that don't quite like Biden, that they have a home with us. That the Republicans can find a place that's actually fiscally responsible in us, actually protects their freedom of religion and doesn't insist on closing down their churches in us. And let's show the Democrats that when it comes to getting their not typical medicine like cannabis, that they've got candidates like me who are actually medical marijuana patients. That when it comes to civil liberties, we're on board. Let's show them that we're different. Because we are. Let's be different. It's what makes us so great as a party. Anyways, that's kind of my feelings on Justin Amash. I'm sure there will be more later that we'll follow up on later. But it's just kind of the jump start. Anyways, I'm John Molnar. I'm the Libertarian candidate for Utah's 4th District Representative, officially for the first time in this video. Don't forget to vote for me in November to tell DC enough. Out.